evening to all you award recipients and to your family and friends who I'm sure are very proud to share this day with you. We are all inspired that the next generation of leaders and innovators is amongst us, and we are proud to acknowledge that today.
Hi everyone, my name is Katrina and I am a fourth year student here in UL studying international business. First of all, I just want to say huge congratulations to all of you who are receiving the BSTAI award today. I know it's unfortunate that we can't be together in person to celebrate, but I hope you take today as a very proud day of everything you've achieved so far.
Tonight, as we celebrate your achievement of the highest grade in business studies in the junior cycle, I wanted to quickly focus on what this grade means. What does that distinction actually represent? Your distinction grade represents so much more and says so much more about you. It says that you now appreciate how your lives are shaped by economic and social factors, and you have equipped yourselves with the understanding, skills, and attitudes to participate fully in an increasingly interconnected world.
A really invaluable aspect of the business degree here at the KBS is the compulsory 8-month work placement. Students are given the opportunity to apply what they have learned in college, gaining very valuable real-life experience in their area of study. And this is what makes the KBS graduates really stand out from others when looking for a job after college.
Is because of the continued endeavour of individuals such as yourselves to enhance your experiences of education, that we here have had to evolve our programmes to bring in dual degrees and more Erasmus places and more international work placements.
I guess before choosing to do business, I didn't really realise how diverse it is. So for me, I'm studying management and accounting, whereas my friends doing the same course are all studying completely different disciplines within business to me. So it's quite nice that there's something for everyone within it.
When I was researching which college I would study business in, what really drew me to the course here at the KBS was the option to study the modern language as part of my business degree. I have really enjoyed French in secondary school, and this course gave me the opportunity to pursue study in both business and French.
For me, the learning outcomes reaffirm why it was so important that tonight's event went ahead, and why it was so important for us at the KBS Business School that we celebrate your achievement tonight, despite the circumstances we find ourselves in. So congratulations to you all once again, and best of luck in your future studies, wherever they lead you.
Staff of the KBS Business School, UL campus community, BSTAI members, teachers, parents, guardians, families, and award recipients. I have pleasure in convening this, our first virtual KBS BSTAI Junior Cycle Business Studies Awards ceremony. This is our 8th event, and we are awarding 105 students representing 45 schools from Clare, Kerry, Limerick and Tipperary. Professor Philip O Regan, former Executive Dean of the KBS Business School at the University of Limerick, will now make an address of welcome.
Thank you, Michelle. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the annual KBS BSTAI Junior Cycle Awards. Coming to you online this year, I'm afraid, and not unfortunately from the much more impressive concert hall on the UL campus. My name is Philip O Regan. I'm the former Dean of KBS, and it's my really great pleasure to welcome you all, teachers, students, school principals, family members, to this event. I think while it is disappointing not to be meeting in person on the UL campus, we have, I hope, put together an impressive online ceremony, which is designed to acknowledge the hugely impressive achievement of our 105 awardees from 45 schools in this region. So our intention in this ceremony is not only to acknowledge the excellence of our awardees, all of whom have achieved 90% or higher in their junior cycle business studies paper, but also to celebrate the unique possibilities that education offers and to hopefully, I suppose, foster that desire in our awardees to continue with their education journey, and in particular in a way that not only meets their own ambitions, but also helps us to build a more sustainable and equal society. This is a key ambition of the Kemi Business School and indeed of the University of Limerick more broadly. So can I thank the Business Studies Teachers Association of Ireland for their ongoing assistance in maintaining this award. We've worked with them now for almost a decade, and their commitment to this award series is exceptional. I'd also like to acknowledge the role of your teachers and your school principals who've displayed their own commitment to excellence in bringing you, the students, to this point. I think we should also recognise the role of your families, your parents, your guardians, even your siblings, without whom all of our successes would be so diminished. But finally, this is the students' event, and we want to recognise the excellence and your dedication. To all of you, individually and collectively, I want, on behalf of KBS and UL, to say well done. It might also be appropriate, I think, for you to just take a moment to reflect on what this says about what you can achieve in your own lives and in your own careers. The piece we would like to add is that we hope this award prompts you students to think about how you can take this as a moment to just consider more deeply how you can contribute to the betterment of those around you and to society in general. So congratulations to you all. You've been hugely successful in your education journey so far, and I want to wish you well for your future and hope you really enjoy this event. So thank you, and back to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Philip. I now call on Ms. Margaret McDonald, Honorary National President of the BSTAI, and Ms. Olivia Kamaski, Chairperson of the Limerick Clare branch, to speak.
Friends of University of Limerick, school principals, teachers of business subjects, students and your families. In my role as President of the Business Studies Teachers Association, I'm delighted to be part of this award ceremony to recognise your excellent results in your Junior Cycle Business Studies exams in 2019. The Business Studies Teachers Association is a voluntary organisation representing teachers of business subjects in second-level schools throughout the country. Here in your area, you have 3 branches, the Kerry branch, the Limerick branch and the Thurles branch, to which your teachers are members. The aim of the association is to promote excellence in business studies teaching and to promote the uptake of business subjects among students, because we recognise how important economic and financial literacy is in the world today. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the officers of those branches, Kerry, Limerick and Thurles, for all the hard work they do on behalf of the teachers and students in their areas, and all this work is done on a voluntary basis. Congratulations to the students who have achieved such excellent results, and to their proud schools, both principals and teachers, and to their parents. It's so much easier for students to excel when all of the stakeholders work together to promote an atmosphere of learning and support. So thank you for what you did for those students. But at the end of the day, you, the students, had to do the hard work. To put your achievements in context, in 2019, 36,268 students sat the Junior Cycle Business Studies exam, and only 1.8% of those achieved the distinction. That is getting over 90% of an overall grade. So this is a fantastic result. You're also a very special group of students because you are the first group of students to follow the new Junior Cycle Business Studies specification, to do the CBAs in business studies and the assessment tasks. And you sat an exam paper without the safety net of past exam papers, as previous years did. So well done on your fantastic achievements in that respect. At this point, you're all in either 5th year or 6th year, and I hope that you have chosen a business subject for your Leaving Cert, either accounting, economics or business studies, and that many of you are planning to go on to do a 3rd level business studies course of some kind. As much as we need science and technology, we need business people to bring products to the market in a cost-effective and efficient way. Business people are needed to run businesses, to market goods, to keep accounts, among other things. But maybe you have no interest in following a career in business. Irrespective of what career you follow, many of you will end up running your own business or practice at some time in the future. So the skills that you've learned in Junior Cert Business Studies will be of benefit to you going forward. So I'd like to congratulate you once again. We in the BSTAI are delighted to be associated with excellence. I'd like to conclude by thanking the University of Limerick, specifically the Kemmy Business School, for organising this event to celebrate the achievements of our students. We really appreciate the ongoing support of our business teachers and our business studies students. And I would like to hand over now to Olivia Kamaski, Chairperson of the Limerick branch of the Association.
Thank you, Margaret. As Margaret has said, I am the Chairperson for the Limerick Clare branch BSTAI. And I would like to take this opportunity to firstly congratulate all of you on your fantastic achievement. It wasn't easy being the first year group to sit this type of business paper in your junior cycle, as well as undertake the classroom-based assessments. Business is an extremely versatile and dynamic subject, which can be applied in either your professional or personal life sometime in the future. You have shown an extreme aptitude for this subject, as well as maybe some enjoyment also. I would encourage you to take an element of the business course in your Leaving Cert or even beyond, whether it be business, economics or accounting. You will be able to apply this either personally or professionally at some time in your life. I would also like to thank and congratulate your teachers. Their relentless and tireless work behind the scenes, as well as in front of you in the classroom, has indeed led to some, or in part, to your achievement here tonight. They spend so many hours, whether it be preparing work to bring into the classroom, reviewing your work, preparation for the classroom-based assessments, attending seminars and workshops as well. All the things behind the scenes that you know nothing of because they are unflappable. So thank you so much, teachers, for your very extreme hard work. A huge thank you to everybody in the Kemmy Business School and the University of Limerick for organising this event. The organisation, I know, has taken over 12 months, but it's great to get it completed here tonight. So thank you so much to the Kemmy Business School. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret and Olivia. I will now virtually present certificates to each recipient. Colóiste Muire Ennis, Anya Barry, Rachel Cotter, Catherine Gorman, Sybil Perkins, St Anne's Community College, Killaloo, Orla Gardner, Ruth Stritch, St Flannan's College, Ennis, Stella Quinlivan, St John Bosco Community College, Kildysert, Aaron Lee McMahon, Laura Reedy, Kira Ty, St Joseph's Secondary School, Spanish Point, Ellen Flanagan, St Joseph's Secondary School, Tulla, Ella Bliss, St Michael's Community College, Kilmihill, Alana Hawk, Niamh Quinlivan, Sinead Walsh, Colóiste na Skellige, Cahersiveen, Maeve Daly, Mercy Secondary School, Mount Hawk, Tralee, Jake Carroll, Dara Murphy, Pobbleskull Inver Skeina, Kenmare, Aoife Crowley, Presentation Secondary School, Castle Island, Hilary O'Connor, Presentation Secondary School, Tralee, Katrina Duyeel, Chloe Fitzpatrick, Holly Geary, St Brendan's College, Killarney, Tanjeel Khan, St Bridget's Presentation Secondary School, Killarney, Rebecca Doyle, Carrie Hickey. St Joseph's Secondary School, Ballybunion. Quiva Maloney. St Mary's Secondary School, CBS The Green, Tralee. Ryan Guerin. Tarbert Comprehensive School. Camilla Bunce, Michael Tracy, Amy White. The Intermediate School, Kilorglin. Iris Carvalho, Hugh Fitzpatrick. Ordscoil Wirra, Limerick. Neela Carroll, Tara McDonough. Ordscoil Rish, Limerick. Oren Carey, Vinian Flynn, Ronan Griffin, Kyle McRedmond. Castletroy College, Limerick. Amy Burke, Joseph Fitzgerald, John Foley, Molly Hussey, Ellen Tobin, Julieta Vargas, Eric Yu. Coláiste Wirra, Askeaton, Ellie Gallagher. Coláiste na Trócaire, Rathkeil, Dawn O'Shaughnessy, Ciara Ryan, Bridget Brett Shanahan. Hazelwood College, Drumcallagher. Brian O'Callaghan. John the Baptist Community School, Hospital. Sophie Nocton. Laurel Hill Secondary School, FCJ, Limerick. Saoirse O'Shea, Roisin Ryan. Salesian Secondary College, Pallaskenry. Conor Kelly. Scoil Wirra agus Ida, Newcastle West. Michaela Shanahan. Scoil Pole, Kilfinane. Anya Hayden, Conor Healy, Luke O'Brien, Ciara Slattery. Villiers School, Limerick. Christian Ogle. Cashel Community School. Emily Coleman. CBS High School, Clonmel. Niall Barry, Garrod Daly, Fergal Cochran, Ilber Sidiku. CBS Thurles. Stephen Maw, Ben O'Driscoll. Cistercian College, Roscrea. Peter Dillon. Loretto Secondary School, Clonmel. Ashlyn Callery. Ella Fitzsimons. Gillian Hughes. Laura Killen. Lily Kohutovitova. Isabella Logmelis. Octavia Brzezinska. Trina Ryan. Anna Skadrina. Presentation Secondary School, Thurles. Anya Bowe. Aveen Clancy. Victoria Lupton. Rockwell College, Cashel. Jamie Brown. Anna Lee Diggins. Donica Keeley. Scoil Wirra, Carrick-on-Suir. Amy Cullinan. Clodagh Goldring. Zara Ronan. St Ailbe School, Tipperary Town. Cathal Madsen. St Anne's Secondary School, Tipperary Town. Aveen Kivahan, Maeve O'D. St Joseph's CBS, Nina. David Ryan. St Mary's Secondary School, Nina. Ellen Conneen, Niamh Conneen. St Mary's Secondary School, Newport. Amaya Bustos, Cormac Kennedy, Brian Nolan, Ben O'Sullivan, Conor Shanahan. The Abbey School, Tipperary Town. Cian Lewis. Ursuline Secondary School, Thurles. Ruth Brannigan, Grania Gleeson, Katie Gleeson, Claudia O'Brien, Leanne Pardy-Power, Alison Ryan.
Our special guest is a graduate of the Kenny Business School and the University of Limerick, and is now a teacher of business and mathematics at Desmond College, Newcastle West. He is a member of the Limerick senior hurling team who won the All-Ireland Championship in 2018 and again in 2020. An All-Star recipient, he has also been named as the PwC Hurler of the Year 2020. I would like to call upon our special guest, Mr. Garrod Hegarty, to speak.
Hello everyone. So firstly, I just want to congratulate 105 students who achieved a Certificate of Achievement for getting a distinction in their 2019 Junior Cert, obviously in the subject of business. So that's an incredible achievement, so fair play to you. Unfortunately, there was no 2020 winners or anyone that got this Certificate of Achievement, unfortunately, because there was no Junior Cert or Leaving Cert last year because of the world that we're living in at the moment. But anyway, it's an extremely brilliant achievement. I'm a business teacher myself, and I know that how difficult it is to get such a good result in a difficult test. So fair play to you in that. And hopefully, I know that a majority of you are probably in fifth year or maybe even sixth year at the moment, and hopefully a lot of you went on to do business in the Leaving Cert, because I think it is an extremely useful subject for you to obviously study in the Leaving Cert 2 years, and then obviously some of you may pursue business careers afterwards. So that's a nice little segue for me to talk about my own experience in terms of school. So I went to Castro College in Limerick, and I was in Milford National School before that. But in Castro College is where I suppose I developed my own interests in different subjects, which were mainly business and history and maths. They were the three subjects that I loved, especially in Leaving Cert. Obviously in Junior Cert I got a taste of all different subjects, but especially for Leaving Cert I really developed huge interest in business, in history, maths, and obviously PE. Quite sporty, which I'll talk about in a couple of minutes also. But yeah, thinking back on it now, the reason why I love these subjects so much is because the three teachers that I had at the time for those subjects were teachers that I really got on with, developed a really good relationship with, and I really enjoyed their teaching style. And obviously that had a huge influence in me and my future career, I suppose, in terms of now that I am a secondary school teacher myself in Desmond College in Newcastle West, so teaching business and maths, so that they obviously had a huge impact on me when I was kind of in that formative years where I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So that was a really, I suppose, when I think back on it now, those couple of years when I was doing those subjects really had a huge impact on me in terms of figuring out what I wanted to do for the rest of my career really. I suppose then moving on to college, I went to the University of Limerick for 4 years, and being honest, I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to do when I was in fifth year and sixth year. I suppose we had career guidance, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and to be honest, a lot of my friends were doing business in UL, and I kind of just went with the flow. As I said previously, I loved this subject of business for Leaving Cert. I loved studying it, and I always thought I'd go down the route of something to do with business. So that's what I did. I chose business in UL, and I was fortunate enough to get it. And it was a learning experience. At the start, I kind of struggled with it. In first year, I got through first year eventually, but I had a couple of repeats at the end of my first year. I kind of struggled from going from school day to day, where you had to be in school at a certain time and the roll was taken and you had to be there, and if you weren't there, the reception would ring home and see where you were, etc., etc. Whereas then I went to college, where the onus is on you to turn up to go to college, and it's the onus is on you, the responsibility is on you to turn up at lectures and to turn up at tutorials, and that was something that I struggled with a lot at the start of college. But again, I got into, just as I said, I got through first year, and it was a learning experience. As I said, I was lucky that a lot of my friends did the same course as me, and I suppose I chose that because they were all doing it. But in the end, it turned out that it was a huge positive that I had so many friends in it, because obviously I was able to lean on them at different times throughout the year, and as I said, eventually get through it. Now, to be honest, in doing that, the fact that there was so many of us from Castro College that ended up doing business in UL, it also was a bit of a negative when I look back on it, because it kind of allowed me to stay in my comfort zone in terms of not having to go out and meet new people, or that I was able to, even if I didn't turn up to a lecture or tutorial, sure I could ask the lads what did they do that day, or so on and so forth. Was there any exams coming up or anything like that? So when I look back on it, that was a small bit of a negative as well, that I didn't have to, that I was still in my comfort zone in the first 2 years really. A big change for me was when I got into third year and I went on co-op, so I went on work experience, and I went to Cook Medical in just up the road from UL, and it's really where I believe that I turned from a child into a man again. The responsibility was on me to turn up for work every day, and you were getting paid, and you were responsible for. I was in the finance department in Cook, and you were responsible for different job responsibilities every day, or different tasks every day, and you had to get it in, and other people were relying on you to get your work done so they could get their work done, and so on and so forth. And that is definitely where that was a pivotal moment in my life, without a doubt. It's definitely where I matured a lot, because I had to, and it's definitely a period that I look back on with a lot of fondness. Those 9 months that I spent in Cook Medical during third year of my undergrad in business. And I suppose then when I came out of co-op, I went into fourth year in obviously in my undergrad in business, and I absolutely flew through it then. As I said, I matured so much in that third year, especially during co-op time, and fourth year I really knuckled down, and because I had a bit of work to do, unfortunately, after my first 2 years to get a good QCA and obviously to pass fourth year, but I really did knuckle down in fourth year, and I got my act together, and thankfully I achieved what I wanted to achieve, and I got a good degree out of it. So then I suppose I was again at a bit of a crossroads in life, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I suppose I ended up going for the PME, the Professional Masters of Education, again in UL. So I'm only living literally 5 minute drive from UL, so I didn't go far. As I said, I went to Milford National School, which is right beside the University of Limerick. Then I went to Castro College, which is a 5 minute drive from the University of Limerick, and I'm only living 5 minutes from the University of Limerick myself. So talking about being in a comfort zone, I didn't move too far away from home, or didn't have to move away from home or anything like that, again, which is another regret of mine. I wish I had moved out for a year or even a semester with a couple of my friends, again, getting out of the comfort zone, because as the years have gone by, I realised that it is a cliche to say, but life does really begin outside the comfort zone. Okay, so something that I do regret during those first 2 years, where I was just taking it easy, and those first 2 years just went by in a flash. I can hardly even remember them, and unfortunately I did make a lot of mistakes in those first 2 years, but it was making me in the end of it. And as I said, I went into the PME then in business. Ended up going down the teaching route. After, as I said, I did have a passion for those subjects that I was doing in Leaving Cert, specifically business and maths and history. And then I suppose when I was in fourth year, then I had a decision to make. Did I want to go teaching? So I actually majored in insurance with my undergrad, and then I was at a crossroads. Did I see myself going down that route? I didn't, to be honest, and that's not a bad thing either. People always see failure as a bad thing. Failure is not always a bad thing. Failure just means that you can analyse it, reflect on it, see what went well, see what didn't go so well. And as I said, I majored in insurance, and I just didn't see myself going down the route, and that's no bad thing. So I had to, I suppose, revisit what I wanted to do, and I ended up going down the teaching route, and it's something that I'm thankful that I did go down that route, because I'm in my third year of teaching now, and I'm loving it. Okay, so it took me 6 years to get out of college, and I suppose end up in a career that I really do love and I really have a passion for. And people might say, geez, it took you 6 years to get a teaching degree. You could have done that in 3 or 4 years, no problem. But a lot of people go through life in a job that they don't like, you know. So yes, it did take me a bit longer to get my chosen career, but everything happens for a reason, in my opinion, and I got there eventually, and I'm happy that I did go down that route of doing the Professional Masters of Education in business teaching. So they were a really difficult 2 years. There's no point in saying they weren't. Especially that, I'll never forget that first semester and first year was incredibly tough. The amount of assignments that were due it was just unbelievable. And but again, all those experiences stand to you as life goes on. It was really, really tough, and I'll never forget those 2 years, especially that first semester, as I was saying. But all those experiences stand to you as things go on, and that PME really did set me up for going on the 2 teaching practices that you have to do during those 2 years, and more importantly, set me up for a life in teaching afterwards. So that was something that I do really hold dearly to me. I suppose then talking about not to say my sporting career, playing hurling for Limerick, and at the moment, and I have been I'm on the senior panel since 2016, so that is 5 years done now at this stage. I can't believe it. When I actually say it out loud that I have 5 years of senior and county experience under my belt at this stage, which is a bit mad to think. We won an under-21 All-Ireland in 2015 with John Kiley. He was our manager at the time, and that set us up. Well, that set a lot of us up to progress then into 2016 and move on to the senior panel. And fortunately, we've had a nice bit of a success over those number of years. We won the Limerick's first All-Ireland in 2018 for the first time in 45 years, and in just 2020 just gone. We won the COVID All-Ireland, as some people are calling it, which was an incredible experience, a very different experience to the 2018 experience. Obviously, there was no fans in the ground for any of the games, but it was just as satisfying in different ways. But again, a lot of hard work was required to get to that moment, and I suppose hard work did pay off in the end for us to get there. But yeah, again, just like my career, my working career, I suppose there was a lot of bumps along the way, and a lot of I suppose I was going to call them negative points, but a lot of difficult moments, I would call them, along the way. So I was on the minor panel for 2 years, and first year when I was under 17, say, on an under 18 team, and I didn't really make much inroads in terms of getting on the team or anything like that, but I always felt that, it's your first year, you have another year after this year, just try learn as much as you can, and next year you'll set yourself up to get on the starting team. And then the next, my full year minor, as they call it, when I was under 18 proper, came along, and I actually regressed. I went backwards. I made the 24. I was basically a sub for 1 or 2 games my first year, and then when I was a full minor, I didn't make any subs bench, and that hit me incredibly hard. I took that very badly, and I kind of drifted away from hurling for a while. Then when I came into first year in college, then and I broke my wrist in a fresher hurling trial, and then I kind of just completely drifted away from hurling for a couple of years, actually, to be honest. And what happened was, I was playing my club at home, St. Patrick's, were in a senior relegation final and a relegation semi-final, and they asked me to come down and play. I was just, as I said, I was just out of school, I was just in college, enjoying myself, and they asked me to come down and play, and I said I would, and things kind of spiraled from there. We stayed up, we ended up staying up we played in the relegation final, and we just about stayed up, and then John Bruder took us over that year with the club, and he ended up getting the Limerick senior football job the year after that, and I had a great year that year with the club. John Bruder, as I said, got the Limerick manager's job football and asked me to come onto the panel, and that was a complete eye-opener for me in terms of, so I was around 19, 20 at that stage. That was a huge eye-opener for me in terms of the dedication and the lifestyle it takes to actually be even on an inter-county panel, not to mind be successful, in terms of having to go to the gym twice a week, maybe go training 3 times a week. But even outside of that, I always knew that there was a lot of training involved in terms of being on an inter-county panel, but it was the lifestyle change that I couldn't get over, in terms of having to look after your sleep, having to look after your nutrition, all those different things. So that was a huge eye-opener for me, and it was something that it's something that I know helped me get onto a Limerick Hurling team, Limerick Hurling panel, and obviously it got me to where I am today. And I always believed that without that couple of years experience with the footballers, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't be where I am today without that experience. So that is something that I always hold very dear to John Bruder for asking me onto the football panel in that time. I suppose interest then outside of sport and outside of education, I'm a huge golf fan. I absolutely love golf. I play golf all year round, as pretty much. obviously at the moment golf courses are closed, so that's a huge disappointment for me, and I wish they were open, because it's I suppose we're on a break at the moment from inter-county training and all that kind of everything that goes with that, and it's kind of a time where you're able to relax a small bit more and socialise a bit. And obviously with COVID at the moment, everything is life as we knew it is completely different. So you just gotta, I suppose we have to adapt. And I suppose again, talking about the COVID from last year, because it affected everybody differerly. Thankfully enough, I didn't know anybody close to me that was affected by COVID. Obviously, I have two, my nan and granddad, my mother's mother and father are living in Offaly, and they're in their 80s, and unfortunately I have seen them very rarely over the last 12 months, and that has been obviously very difficult. But in terms of any real difficulties associated with COVID, we have been lucky in that sense. But again, COVID was a huge. I suppose COVID. How would I describe it? COVID was. It changed everybody's life, I suppose, and everybody had to deal with it differently. And I suppose at the start, in the first couple of months, I took it very badly, because I felt like, especially in terms of my passion in life is playing hurling for Limerick, and I was having a great league season with Limerick, and then all of a sudden COVID hit and the league was called off, and the championship became uncertain, and everything that you get out of bed for every morning kind of gets thrown up in the air. And there was talks around would the championship go ahead, when will it go ahead, will there be fans at the games, so on and so forth. And as I said, I didn't take it well at all. I suppose the first couple of weeks it was grand. We were kind of trained away at home, but the novelty wore off very quickly, and everything just got very stale in terms of having to train on your own. I just don't really enjoy it. I love, as I said, obviously I'm playing a team sport, and that's one of the major advantages of a team sport, is that you can have that bit of crack when you go out to train and you're not training on your own. So having to train on your own at home was a really, really difficult moment for me. I was lucky that my brother is he's 18 and he's big into hurling. He was on a Limerick minor panel as well for 2 years like myself, and he did a bit better than I did. And my sister Grace is also a huge fan of hurling. She plays camogie for Monaleen GA, which is just up the road from UL as well, and she has just started in Castro College as well, actually. And thankfully I had the two of them to poke around with, even in the evenings, was a huge help. And anytime I was doing a bit of training, they'd get involved as well, and they give me a bit of company, because as I said, it's a team sport. You're not normally training on your own, so that was a huge I suppose mental battle that you had to overcome. But as I said, thankfully things worked out in the end, and the championship did go ahead, even though I had huge reservations about the championship going ahead without any fans behind closed doors. I wasn't sure would that get the juices flowing or get me motivated, but in the end it was a huge positive that it did go ahead. It got you out of the house. As I said, the championship was going ahead as there was a lockdown going on, so it was a huge privilege to be able to leave the house when people were restricted to being at home and only being able to travel 5k. We were allowed to go to inter-county training and go into inter-county matches. Even though we were travelling on our own, you knew that for that 2 hours or 2.5 hours while you're there, you get to meet with other people, which sounds mad, but that's the world we're living in at the moment. So I suppose that's kind of been my journey so far. Hopefully there's a lot more to come. I think after the year we've just had, it has opened my eyes big time in terms of what's important in life. As I said, I suppose the year that has just gone has really opened my eyes in terms of what's important in life and what's not. I used to get stressed out over small things in terms of if I didn't get a good night's sleep or anything before a big match, or if I was tired going into school or anything like that, I'd always be racking my brain as to why I'm tired, or if I didn't bring a nice lunch with me for the school day or anything like that, it would always be on my mind, and I'd be getting stressed over stupid things. But it just shows you that there will be a lot of positives that will come out of this pandemic in terms of people will hopefully be able to enjoy life a lot sooner hopefully than we might have expected a couple of months ago. Thankfully, with the vaccines, the numerous vaccines that have been invented, I suppose, by the scientists, by those fantastic scientists that they are, in terms of saving people's lives. Hopefully life will get back to normal sooner rather than later, and I do believe that there is light at the end of the tunnel, because it has been a really hard time for everybody, regardless of people's circumstances. Obviously it's been harder for some people more than others, but I do believe that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully things will get back to normal. Whether we'll see people in stadiums or whether we'll see people in lecture halls in the next couple of months, I'm not so sure. But as I said, I do believe that life will be back to normal sooner rather than later, and thank God. So that's it.
Thank you, Garrod. I would like to acknowledge the work of the BSTAI and the schools for the high standard achieved by tonight's recipients. I would also like to congratulate each recipient on your wonderful achievement, and we hope that you will consider the University of Limerick as a place of study in the future. Your certificate of achievement will be posted to your school principal in the coming week, and please note that a recording of this awards ceremony will be uploaded to the KBS Business School website. I now formally close this ceremony.
Before you go, we want to let you know about a competition we're running for all our successful student awardees tonight. Along with your certificate of achievement, we will also be posting out a number of #KBS BSTAI 21 logos to your principal. To be in with a chance to win some fantastic prizes, simply take a photo of yourself outdoors holding your certificate and the logo. Then email it, along with your name and the name of your school, to business@ul.ie and tag us on social media. The deadline is the 17th of April. Best of luck.